This is one of the smallest stabilized 4K cameras ever made. And this is what happens when you stop caring about that. The Osmo Pocket was designed to be minimal. It stabilizes itself, shoots 4K, and disappears in your pocket. Its entire identity is built around staying small. But small always comes with trade-offs. When you start rigging something, you realize a single device can live across a whole spectrum. On one end, you might have an iPhone with a simple magnetic filter clipped on. On the other end, it's the same iPhone mounted on a Hollywood robot arm, surrounded by lights and motion control systems. Same device, completely different level of capability. A rig is what happens when you decide the device should adapt to you, not the other way around. You start adding what you need for your workflow, and every time you add something, you give something up. More capability usually means less portability. And that's what made this interesting to me. What if I stopped protecting the compactness of the Osmo Pocket? What if I stopped asking how small I could keep it and started asking how far I could push it? It's still the same camera. I just gave it an exoskeleton. The idea wasn't to replace what makes the Pocket special. It was to unlock everything it could become, while still being able to go back whenever I wanted. Take it out, and it's small again. Once I started thinking about it that way, the goal stopped being keeping it small and became unlocking its full potential. Then the next question hit me. Okay, what features should I add? If I was really going to push this thing, it couldn't just be a cage with accessories attached to it. The camera had to sit horizontally inside a body that fully surrounds it, with space underneath to host a power bank. That was the foundation. From there, everything else followed. If it's going to feel like a real camera, it needs a proper handle. It needs support for serious audio. It needs to accept real filters. It needs to sit down on a table without feeling unstable. And it has to mount quickly when I need it to. These weren't random add-ons. They were decisions shaping the object itself. And while all of that was coming together, I realized this rig needed a clear visual identity. I wanted it to carry that retro camcorder feel I've always liked, built into the design from the start. Once that was clear, the real design work began. The first thing that had to be locked in was the core structure. The camera sits horizontally at the center, exactly as I mentioned before, with the power bank directly underneath it. That stack defines the heart of the rig. From there, everything had to grow around that. The front had to be strong enough to carry a real metal filter thread, while still leaving space for the gimbal to move freely inside. Above, a handle that could properly support audio and provide a clean way to mount an external monitor. And below, a base stable enough that you can just put it down without thinking about balance, with the tripod connection hidden right at the center. At this stage, it was about making the object feel intentional and balanced as a whole. Once the overall architecture felt right, I started working on how everything would be organized internally. My first approach used 2 internal drawers, one for the pocket, one for the power bank. It worked, but the system felt too fragmented. So I simplified it. I redesigned everything as a single central structural tray. To secure both components, I used simple hook and loop straps. They keep the camera and the power bank firmly in place. The pocket sits in the upper section. The battery underneath, aligned within one unified piece. That change made the structure cleaner and mechanically more coherent. Then the tray itself had to lock into the body. So I designed small internal notches with 2 calibrated snap flaps at the end of the tray. When you slide it all the way in, the flaps flex slightly and click into place at the end stop. That keeps the tray firmly seated inside the body and prevents it from sliding forward or backward, so the whole rig feels like a single, solid object. And that tray also became the reference for positioning the camera itself. The gimbal needs space to move, and if a lens sits even slightly off-center inside the front opening, the edges of the image start to darken when you pan. So I spent quite a bit of time adjusting the position to reduce that effect as much as possible. It's not completely eliminated, but for controlled cinematic shots, where movement is intentional and not extreme, it works exactly the way I wanted. The top handle became one of the defining elements of the design. The ribbed profile reinforces the structure while keeping it light, and the triangular underside naturally guides your grip. On top, it carries two cold shoes, one for a microphone and one for a magnetic phone mount that works as an external monitor. At that point, the pocket still keeps its original tech heart inside, but the exterior begins to behave like a real camera body built around it. If this was going to feel like a real camera, it needed a real metal filter thread. And this part almost killed the project. I didn't know how to integrate a metal thread into a printed body in a way that felt precise and repeatable. Doing the gluing myself felt too manual. Small misalignments, glue residue, inconsistent positioning. So instead, I printed a dedicated front ring and sent it to the factory that produces the metal threads. They installed the insert cleanly and sent the part back. When it returned, the ring already had the metal thread perfectly aligned and fixed in place, ready to be integrated into the body. At that point, I could pause the main print mid-process, place that ring into position, and resume printing so the body closed around it. Now the thread is embedded directly into the structure, held in place by the print itself. With the front sorted, I turned to the rear, where the opening needed protection to complete the design and prevent stray light from reaching the lens from behind. I started with magnets for a simple plug-and-play solution, but polarity issues and messy assembly pushed me to spend far more time than I'd admit, developing a spring mechanism built directly into the lid, which now prints cleanly in one piece and locks in place while still flexing open when needed. It ended up being a much cleaner and more reliable solution. Now, one thing that really changed the feel of the body was the texture. I introduced this ribbed pattern across the surface. It gives the object its character, but it's also doing structural work, reinforcing the shell without adding extra weight. The front section is shaped to echo a camera lens, and this ribbed profile helps stiffen the structure in that area as well. Right below, I added two support rails, so you can place the camera down without thinking about it. Right at the center of the base, there's a V-shaped slot, designed to fit a quick-release system, so the whole body connects instantly and securely to a tripod. While working on these details, I decided the entire main body had to be printed as a single unibody piece, with only the tray and the back lid as separate parts. It took more time to design, but it made the whole system more reliable, reduced assembly, and avoided unnecessary material waste. At that point, the object finally felt complete. You lock the pocket into the tray with the power bank and slide everything into the body until it clicks. You mount the mic. You attach a filter. You snap the phone on as a monitor and remote. And this is the full setup. And when you're done, you pull the pocket out and it's small again, which is exactly the duality the whole concept was built around. At that point, I thought the project was finished. So I shared a few reels on Instagram showing what I had built. The response caught me off guard. People immediately asked for the link, and even a few online magazines picked it up. So I quickly put together a simple product page and opened a small pre-order batch of about 30 units. And they sold out in 2 weeks. And that's when it stopped being a prototype and became a product. While preparing that first drop, reading a comment about side handles made me realize this wasn't just an idea in my head anymore, and that it was a detail of the project worth finally addressing. So before shipping the first batch, I built in a subtle side mounting point, even though the handles weren't ready yet. So early users would already have the connection ready for future upgrades. Your feedback and the support from this beautiful community made me realize the project was actually bigger than I first thought. What started as a single product was really just the first part of a system that could evolve through new features, accessories, and different setups depending on each creator's needs. But that's the next challenge, and probably the next video. For now, thank you for watching.